Chinmayam Yapiya Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiv Vandanat Mrityormushi Mamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiv Vandanat Mrityormushi Mamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiv Vandanat Mrityormushi Mamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiv Vandanat Mrityormushi Mamritat. How many of you are doctors here? Quite a lot. I'm sure with a stethoscope or on a computer, you've heard the heartbeat. How does it sound? And when we touch your heart, yeah. How does it sound? If you hear the sound beat, doctors can tell me of little children, it will be duk duk suk, duk duk suk, duk duk suk. While all of you found only duk duk duk, duk duk duk, duk duk duk. This is in fact the sad part of life. That everything in life changes, and in this temporary world, everything is temporary. So is our joys that we get from things, beings, and situations, and also the sorrows that we experience from things, beings, and situations. However, when you read the works of all great observers of life, Buddha said, Sarvam Dukkham Dukkham. Everything in this world is nothing but sorrow. Guru Nanak Sahib said, Nanak Dukhiya Sab Sansar. Telling himself that everyone in this world is sorrowful. And I said, I've already proven it because yours also duk 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 duk. Yeah. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about that this world, this samsara, this loka, world of our experience, is anitya and asukha. He didn't say without pleasure, but he said asukha. Without happiness. When as a child I used to hear these statements, especially as a teenager, I said, world is not that bad, is it? Yeah. What these saints, that's why they all rejected life and went. They must be really miserable people. That's why people ask us also, Swamiji, why did you become a Swami? And if you tell the real story that I heard Gurudev, I was inspired by the Gita, and I found it so beneficial, and I was really inspired, and that's why I did all. Still they will ask this question again and again. One Amma used to ask me, elderly Amma, every time she saw me, and we all start young, you've seen Brahmachari also, no? We also started all young only. So she used to always say, why did you become a Brahmachari? Why did you become a Swami? So I remember many a times I've answered her that, I met Gurudev, I was inspired by his work, I read the Bhagavad Gita, there's no knowledge like this, there's no greater seva like this. All this I would tell her. Till one day I told her, Amma, you've been asking me this question for so long, and every time I answer, I don't have a different answer. She said, Beta, all that you say is very nice, but what was that problem because of which you took sannyas? Oh, then I made a story, and after that she never asked this question. But don't ask me that story, because you will be more convinced by that than the reality. Therefore Kabir Das ji says, Sach kaho to maran dave, jhoot kaho patiana. Tell the truth and they'll come to beat you up. And tell an imaginary lie, it'll be the bestseller book. Yeah? So this is how this world is. So I said, really speaking, the world is not that bad. Why are they so? But only after I became a Swami and I had to listen to all these PIs, private interviews, that I realized, Nanak dukhiya sab sansar. And yes, that day also I told you, just check yourself. If I ask you what you remember, most of it you would just remember the sorrows of your life. Though it is not that we don't experience joy. We were reading Gurudev's Manual of Self-Unfoldment as youngsters. It's one of the first books, not meant only for youngsters, but whoever starts off. So see that all of you have and have read it. Even if you're studying now the Upanishads, read the Manual of Self-Unfoldment. And there, Gurudev writes, and which is observation of the rishis, nothing original of his, but it's observation of the rishis, that all of us, and the rishis have also have said, are all day and night working, sukha prapti and dukkha nivritti, for happiness and for elimination of our sorrow, to rise above our sorrows. Day and night we are working for that happiness. Now if there be a project that not only you want, but everybody else wants. And from the womb to the tomb, what are we seeking? Happiness only, isn't it? Anyone here wants sorrow? Anyone? I ask this question because our Gurudev and our Hindu way of teaching and Vedanta especially, no blind belief is required. Therefore Gurudev again and again says, think. And he used to say, never trust a bearded fellow. And longer the beard, greater must be your doubt. Now you know why I trim. And that's not because of that. Otherwise these little children will come up and they will pull your beard, and the mother will say, I said, he's pulling my beard. So say, he likes you, Swamiji. Those likes are also, those loves are also very painful. So, Gurudev say, think. If there be a project that not only you want from your birth to your death, and beyond death also, and not only you want, everybody else wants also. And you wish each other also on New Year's Day, Diwali Day. Onam is coming up, so happy Onam to all of you. We have all these happy notes for everybody. Now, if there's any project that everybody wants and a group of people work dedicatedly towards it, see, in the house you want a television, if somebody doesn't want the television, you can't get it. You know? Even if you sometimes work for it. But everybody house wants, everybody works for it, and still you don't get it, which means what? Isn't it time to realize that something is amiss? Once I was sitting in a train, and those days, you know, trains were Indian Standard Time. Today, Indian Standard Time is better. Yeah? Trains run on time, but Indian Standard Time. I was there sitting in the heat, humid heat, yeah, in the train. Finally, after 3 hours, 22 minutes, the train began to move, and that little movement also gives you such a relief. These days, you will see your flights from Atlanta like that. Yeah? Gives you such a relief. But train is 3 hours, 22 minutes late, but Indians, how do they understand Indian Standard Time? This guy came running 3 hours, 22 and a half minutes late. And then Indians don't travel light. Yeah. They will spend a lot of money, but that laborer or that coolie who's carrying that with him will argue for one or two and then go and buy for $1,000s, yeah, a designer bag. So finally fighting with him, arguing him, finally that coolie pushed him into the train. And another thing, everybody, whether they own the upper bunk or not, the ticket, they want the upper bunk. He finally put all the luggage under my feet, and I was peacefully reading. Put it under, created the chaos, went on the top. The coolie was still standing at the window. He was arguing and bargaining with him. After all that was over, and when the train started moving, the fresh air started coming in, and he was sitting on the top. Next thing is, Indians can't talk less. Yeah, they're friendly. Any heaty place, people are friendly, Texans are friendly, aren't they? Yeah. Try going up northeast. Yeah. Then you will know. Cooler the place, less is the talk. Warmer the place, more boisterous is the talk. Anyway, we are quite friendly. It's almost 3 days journey, 3 nights journey, 2 days, 3 nights journey. So he started saying, Swamiji. No, he said, Maharaji. Maharaji. I didn't know who he was calling. I was reading. He said, Mahatmaji. I was reading. Yeah. So he said, Aapko keh raha hu main. So then I looked up. Kya pad rahe ho? So I said, I showed him. I was reading the Holy Gita by Gurudev. I used to carry it with me. I would read it wherever I can. So I was reading the Holy Gita, Bhagavad Gita. So I showed it to him. Oh, Gita pad rahe ho? Haan. I said, can you tell me, in Hindi he was saying, can you tell me in short, thode mein suna do. Gita kya kehti hai? Our Guruji had taught us in Hindi and in English what to say if such, because he had traveled a lot in the train. So he said, if people want to know in short, well, at least they are inquiring. You tell in short. तो गीता क्या कहती है? तो मैंने भी कह दिया कि जो इस जगत का दृष्टा है वो इस जगत का अधिष्ठान है. That the seer of the world is the substratum of the world. This is what Vedanta says. You also stumped, right? So he was, acha, theek hai. So I said, chalo, theek hai. Now if this uninterested person tries to talk about Bhagavad Gita, it's a waste of time. But he's asked for it, so I told him the highest truth. That the one who is conscious of your thoughts is the substratum of the entire truth. Atma is Brahman. That is the theme of the Upanishads. So I just told him that. Anyway, he kept quiet. Then, of course, he started mundane talking. Then, of course, Indians, we don't eat alone. Yeah. So some Gujaratis were there also. So he didn't have any food. I'm a sannyasi. I don't carry any food. So we ate all the theplas, the doklas and all that. And after we had all that, so everybody becomes friends. So we're chatting and all that. One night, 1.5 day is over. And then while talking, we suddenly discover that we were from the same college, the same year, the same division, and we were not drunk. Same division, and suddenly we recognized we were the same class, same division, same college. So then we recognized that in the chemistry lab, in fact, we were lab partners. He had grown a beard for different reasons. I had grown a beard for a different reason, and we met after quite some time. So we did recognize each other. Then, of course, then the college days, and all that college friends and college, this topic went on. Then finally he asked me, after 2 days, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Chennai. He says, see, what technology, science has developed ever since we left college. I said, yes, science is developing every day. It's in its childhood stages, it has to develop. So he says, see, no, 2 of us are on the same train. The lower bunk you are sitting going to Chennai, and the upper bunk I am going to Delhi. Is it possible? Is it possible? Somebody is in the wrong train. You can guess who. You guessed? Who? Yeah. You're politically correct. Upper bunk. Just think. We laugh at this incident. We all want happiness in our life, is it not? And which happiness do we want? Permanent, everlasting, complete happiness, is it not? Because that happiness, if you have today and you don't have tomorrow, becomes a cause of greater sorrow, is it not? So we want permanent, everlasting happiness. So you want to go to Delhi, but you're sitting in the train to Chennai. Yeah. You want permanent, everlasting happiness, but day and night we are working for happiness only. A person marries for happiness, divorces for? Did I hear happiness? Or to be happier? Contradictory actions, but all for happiness. And therefore I asked, is there anyone here who wants sorrow? Nobody put their hand up, no? But I told you, Gurudev said, I'm asking this question so that you don't believe blindly. Be sure of it. You don't want sorrow, right? Because one college, when I was speaking, one young man put his hand up, because teenager has to defy everything. I want sorrow. And you look at their face, rote kyun aise hi hai Surat. Surat hi aise hai. I want sorrow. So I said, I asked that question, why do you want sorrow? He said, because sorrow makes me happy. Everything is for happiness, but what we don't realize, it is for everlasting happiness. And yet, day in and night, we expect that happiness from impermanent objects, impermanent emotions, impermanent relationships, ever changing. So you are on the upper bunk or lower bunk? It's not that objects are not necessary for our survival, but they are not for our permanent, everlasting happiness. And mind you, the world does not give you happiness nor sorrow. In fact, Purnamada, Purnamidam, it is from happiness, it is meant for your happiness. And you came into this world to be miserable. Yet we find every excuse to be miserable. And even if we have got occasions of being joyful, we will always ruin it with some memory of the past sorrows. Don't we do that? Gurudev has beautifully explained in Manual of Self-Unfoldment. All the scriptures are pointing that out. That permanent happiness can be gained only from that which is permanent. And therefore search for that Sat. Search for that Sat. Search for that truth. Search for that which is permanent. Because that which changes like a dream, it is only temporary and appears and disappears. Now, where is that happiness then? Can we conclude there is no such thing as permanent happiness? Because everything in this world, even according to Einstein, everything is in a state of flux. Everything is changing. Everything that you experience in this world, every being you experience in this world, that which is born will one day die, whether you wish it or not. Our sorrows is not because of death. It is because of a false expectation that anybody in my life will not die. Even though you have been the cause of many people's hunger, thirst and death. Yeah? Is it that? So where does permanent, everlasting happiness lie? Can you think that there is no such thing? That when you inquire, even temporary joy, from where do you get? Even temporary joy, from where do you get? From any object? I remember once I was giving this discourse in Manila, and I had said clearly that, and Gurudev has given the example, those time people used to smoke, today they are thinking that vaping is okay, till they find more mental and physical problems. So I said, if cigarette had happiness in it, it must give happiness to everyone if it is its nature. For example, sweetness is the nature of sugar. For everyone, child or adult, unless they've had COVID, child or adult, or anybody, for any race, any background, sugar is sweet for everybody. But sugar does not necessarily give happiness to everybody. So I said, if cigarette had happiness in it, then everybody would be happy with cigarette. Yeah. But the fact that happiness is, that everybody does not find happiness in the cigarette, it means happiness is not the nature of the cigarette. So logically explained. You understood, right? Children understood, right? Yeah. But this guy got up and said, Swamiji, I think your karma is bad. That's why you are a Swami. I enjoy cigarette. I think there is happiness in cigarette. And he suddenly uses philosophical words. Your karma is bad. Anyway, he said that, whatever his experience is. But 10 years later, he asked me for a private interview. And I was waiting for it. I said, now come. Yeah, that time you challenged me in the class, but now come. He came and he was telling me how miserable he is. So I said, what happened? Anybody brings misery, whatever it is, our work is only to remove sorrows. That's why we are giving this talk. People don't want to remove their sorrows is a different thing. But we are day and night working to remove the sorrows of people. So I met him with all sympathy. But I had not forgotten what he had said. Had forgiven but not forgotten. Yeah? So he came and then he told me, Swamiji, please help me, please help me. You know, my wife is about to divorce me, my child has got asthma, but I can't give up smoking. The smoking has become a problem in my life. I've been to therapists, I've been to everything, I can't stop it. Please do something, give me some mantra. So I said, why? Now your karma is over. He didn't understand what he meant, no? But the same person at one time feels that he's getting joy out of it, and the other time it has become the cause of his misery. So if happiness was the nature of the object, then it would give happiness to everyone at all time. We were studying this, we were also, that time also we were discussing with the teenagers, and we were taking the classes for the teenagers. The best thing for the Yuva Kendra is to take classes for the teenagers, not bluff that I know it all, but have discussions with them, and teenagers are more inspired by the Yuva Kendra. So like that, we were teaching. Gurudev came, and we used to follow Gurudev for all bhikshas till finally we were banned that these youngsters monopolize the Swami, you know. So one of the youngsters decided that we'll have an exclusive bhiksha. Bhiksha means lunch, dinner, breakfast, you know, for Gurudev. And we'll do it on a Sunday morning so that we don't have to say, just like the elders said, no youngsters should come for bhiksha. We won't say no elders. But Sunday morning, we attended the Upanishad sessions of Gurudev at 6 in the morning, 7 o'clock. By 7:30, he used to come to the house. And we used to try to follow him to every place that we could. That day it was only youth, and that youth had told their parents also that, Mummy, Daddy, it's in our house. You do the cooking, but leave the youngsters with Swamiji exclusively. Yeah? So we as youngsters were sitting there. We also felt Gurudev liked our company because these adults only talk about eat this, eat this, eat this, or just come and tell the problems. Gurudev used to love our company. We used to ask so many questions, and he used to answer to us. That day he had a bit of a congestion. It was very cold, so he had a bit of a congestion. We also knew not to unnecessarily make him speak. He's spoken for how many hours? Now again make him speak. So we were singing some bhajans. Finally, he was about to go. The lady of the house said, I see you've got some congestion. May I make you a hot drink? And he just nodded his head. So she said, I'll make you very good South Indian filter coffee. Will you have that, Swamiji? He said, yes. So she was from South Indian, but she was not South Indian, but she knew how to make South Indian coffee. So she brought it not in the tumbler. She brought it in a fancy crockery. And you would watch Gurudev, with his long beard, to drink a coffee without any drops on his. It was amazing. I mean, everything about him was simplicity but elegance. Everything he did, from writing his letter to even folding the envelope of his letter, everything was done with such care. And that brings about perfection. Perfection not in a certain thing, no? He used to do that. So we were just watching him, and he took the first sip of the coffee. The second sip, he slurped it. I mean, English etiquette, let the English keep to themselves. Let us do it the right way. That way you will not burn your tongue and you will taste the cappuccino. He slurped it. And he looked at all of us and said, "Whoever said, yeah, there is no happiness in sense objects?" We were like, we just now read in self-unfoldment, we are convincing all other youngsters. And Gurudev said, "Whoever said that?" No. And then he poured it in the saucer. And then he kept his cup down. And as he was walking out, looked at us again, all were just like, "Whoever said there is no pleasure in sense objects?" However, it's only temporary. See, we do not know the difference between pleasure, joy, and happiness. At least we can understand that temporary happiness, whatever we call as happiness in the world, is only temporary because permanent objects cannot give. Pleasure is the sensation of our likes and of our senses according to our likes and dislikes. Its reflection in our mind is in terms of joy and sorrow. Yeah? And joy and sorrow cannot be permanent. Both are not permanent. Yeah? In the Bhagavad Gita, how to manage joy and sorrow, because we know that our joy only turns into sorrow. Therefore, how do we manage our joy and sorrow? In one line, Krishna has said very clearly in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, every gem you can get from the Gita about life management. Yeah? Dukkheshu anudvigna manaha, sukheshu vigatas praha, vita raga bhaya krodha, stitadhir muni uchyate. Person of steady intellect is called as a muni, a person of reflection, who enjoys, does not get attached. No, attached word suddenly, after explaining, people are still asking, "Swamiji, attachment." Attachment is your clinging dependence on something or someone for your happiness. And if your happiness depends on something or someone, you have kept your happiness in someone else's pocket. No? At least the phone in your pocket, you can switch it off. Phone in someone else's pocket, or also in a lady's handbag, where you can't find it. What happens? He says, "Dukkheshu anudvigna mana." When there are some problems or even a situation, if there's a death, there's a separation, there's losses, don't tell me you're not a dead stone that you would not have an emotion. There will be dukkha. And when you get large profits, marriage takes place in the house, children do very well, don't tell me that there is no joy. However temporary, it is still joy that you experience. Sukheshu vigata spriha. Spriha, clinging. Yeah. Not clinging onto it. In Bhaja Govindam, Shankaracharya says, Ma kuru dhana jana yauvana garvam harati nimeshaha kalaha sarvam. Do not be proud about dhana, people under your command, family members. In a second, time can loot away. Therefore, do not be proud in success. Do not be miserable in failure. Then you can turn failure into success and success into greater success. The whole Bhagavad Gita starts with Krishna's first words in the Bhagavad Gita. First words are Asochananvasochastvam pragyavadascha bhashase gatasuna gatasuncha nanushochanti pandita. What language is that? By the way, Gita is in the Sanskrit language, translated in English and commented in English by Gurudev. You can still study it. He tells Arjuna, you have grieved for that which should not be grieved. Yet, you sound like a wise person, a pandita, scholar, PhD. Pandit is a doctorate. You sound like that. But he says the wise one, they do not na anushochanti. Immediately, if there's some loss, even loss of life, or a tragedy somewhere in someone's life, or even in your life, don't say that you will not feel sad. But this dragging anu, that sorrow, I can't live without it. Why did it happen to me? Matter is over, gone. I remember I went to someone's house. It was in this country. When I came to the house and saw the Mercedes and the Teslas outside, I just walked in and the lady was attending my talk. So she had invited me home for lunch for Bhiksha. Those days I could go. So I would go. I went to their house for Bhiksha. I just walked in. I said, your husband is a doctor. How did you know, Swamiji? I'm a surgeon. So I said, how did you know? And he was there. I was such a thorough gentleman. And after they fed us and everything, I could see he was getting uneasy. I also wanted to go. So, but I can't see khaya piya bhaga. So I noticed that he was a bit restless, but he was being such a gentleman. I've come to his house. So I said that I'm sure you need to get back to work. So do I. Immediately the lady of the house came and said, Swamiji, we called you home because, me and my friends had some questions for you and all that. So I just told him that, well, they don't have anything to do. We Swamis are supposed to have nothing to do. And I said, no, professionally, we are both unprofessional. So I'm sure you have somewhere to go. And he was so apologetic. He said, Swamiji, the person will be on the surgery table. I said, you please go. He said, I'm feeling so bad. How can I leave without you? I said, you don't worry. You go. Now he left. And all the women there, our husbands would not even have come, And your husband's come. He's so good, Grass is always greener on the other side. And I also, seeing that, so I also said, yes, your husband is very, very good. Never praise somebody's husband. Actually, don't praise anybody, because in front of others. Praise them, but don't praise in front of others. They'll find some gossip to tell you. And she started off, Swamiji, 25 years ago when we got married, joint family, 5 sister-in-laws, 3 nanans, and one queen, of course, mother-in-law, and he being the youngest, and Swamiji, this. Oh, she told me all the stories and how they came to this country and how they stayed in one studio flat, and she had to work in Pizza Hut, and then he had to what to say, he was learning, he was trying to with his scholarship, and then she got pregnant, and mother-in-law came and stayed in that studio apartment, and her complaints and everything, and he hardly could earn any money. I had to work also, this, that, manage this, manage that, and he used to come back home frustrated, angry. So finally I said, now he's earning well. Yes, Swamiji. Okay? He gets angry. No, Swamiji. Yeah? Children are all well settled. Yes. Mother-in-law, dead. Sister-in-laws, I don't know. Yeah. But 25 years ago, what I went through. This is called memories of the past. Anu Shochanti. Enjoy what you have right now, but they'll keep on grieving over it. Yeah? You mean to say death is not going to happen to anyone? Every moment, millions of people are dying, and while you're sitting on that chair, do you know how many bacteria and how many insects you must have crushed? I don't believe in God. And depression. For 90 months you never went to meet your parents, and at 90, person having fulfilled his duty that, Swamiji, I can't get over this, my 90-year-old, Of course, at any age, parents are parents. You think we would not miss them? But hear the conversation any bit longer. What will happen about me? You're not interested about that person who was on the ventilator. What will happen about me? And within 2 days, they're looking at the insurances and the wills and all that. Na anushochanti pandita. How? Vita, raga, bhaya, krodha. Free from clinging dependence on anything for their happiness. Knowing that whatever choice we get is temporary. And if you're ready for that, just like you go to a holiday, you go and stay in a 5-star hotel, you enjoy all the comforts, luxuries, though most people sit there and watch television. Yeah? But you enjoy all that. But you know that you have to go from there. Yeah. Some people do carry some shampoo bottles as souvenirs, but you leave behind everything knowing that it is temporary. And knowing that it's temporary, you can really enjoy it. And when you leave from there, you can still go back home and enjoy the peace of home. Otherwise, there, really, I didn't have to do any cooking. Na anushochanti pandita. There's a beautiful text in Sri Ramcharitmanas called as Lakshman Gita. What Ramchandraji had taught Lakshman, and Lakshman teaches Guha. If anybody could have an overnight from joy to sorrow, it was Ramchandraji. Yet the charm of his face and his smile neither got excited on hearing that he is going to be the crown prince, nor did it decline when he was told that in his youth he has to go 14 years to exile. nothing works. Goswami Tulsidas ji says, meditate on that constant smile of Ramchandra ji in every situation of his life. Even when his own people criticized him and separated him from his wife. Don't say that he gave up Sita. It is our gossips. Not that he was affected by the gossips. Yet, they did not give up their duty to that very same society. If nothing else, keep such ideals in your mind. Meditate on them and see how they went through. If not your own grandparents, parents, how did they go through the sorrows of life and still perform their duties? Yeah? To create joyful, happy children. And after that, if the children are not happy, it's their own delusion. Yeah? Not getting temporary object and therefore you don't love me. Nobody loves me. Wise do not grieve. And 3 or 4 beautiful points that I will tell you for management. More you will read in the book, Life Management Techniques, because here we are telling in short, but I'm covering everything. First he says, Kahu na kau sukh dukh kar data. Nobody is the giver of your joy or sorrow. Nij krit karma bhog sab brata. It is your doing only that you get joy or you get sorrow in this world. Now, you know, when children fall playing on their own, and nobody is watching, they fall down. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. But they don't weep. But suppose they fall and that time mommy is saying, stop! But she shouted. Now he will keep on crying. Okay, you don't know that, huh? But suppose. The most hazardous profession, as I said, is a housewife's profession. They are cutting themselves with knives. They are burning their hands in the ovens. And you come back home and, she's been cooking for the son who's come back from the university after 1 month because he doesn't have any packaged food left behind, and she's been baking for him and cooking for him. At that time when she burns her hand, husband comes, you burnt her, what big fuss, I just put some toothpaste, it's fine. But suppose mother-in-law was at home and that time she burnt her hand. Call the emergency ambulance. You were not even there for me when I wanted you. See what happened, See how your pain intensifies. Blame others for your sorrow. And that's why Krishna says, be responsible for your happiness. Be responsible for your sorrow. And if you know that your sorrows are your own making, then you are asserting to yourself that you can make a change. Otherwise, you are a victim. See what psychology is there in that one statement. Don't play the blame game. Oh, but somebody spoke so harshly to me. Once a saint was walking, they associated with Buddha, but whoever it may be, going for Bhiksha. Everybody doesn't praise and bow down and give. Somebody criticized also. And this one person, his son must have joined the brahmachari course or something, must have gone to become a monk. He was very upset. So he was just going on giving bad words to Buddha. And he not gone to Buddha. It must have gone somewhere else. Must have run away with some girl, who knows, whatever. Yeah. But he was shouting at Buddha. He was in a bad mood. One of his disciples said, Master, you may have forgotten that language, but I have just come fresh, fresher. I know the language and I can go and give it back to him. And Buddha said, I didn't take anything that he gave. If you took, give it back. Simple. You are responsible for your own joys and your sorrows. Second is, sometimes you don't even know what you did wrong, sorrows came. But still remember, it's a result of action. It can only be temporary. Yeah? Therefore the attitude, this too shall pass away. Tan stitikshasva bharata. Bear it. How many onslaughts have come to Bharat? Still, we have reached the moon, right? That is just a metaphor, reach the moon. That too, even Ravan used to have honeymoon on the moon. Yeah. Maybe Indians Chandrayaan will find. Because he was in Lanka, right? That's why he went south. This too shall pass away. Then, third is, and this is found in the second chapter of the Gita only. Arjuna was miserable. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agamapayino nityaha tanstitikshasva bharata. This too shall pass away. And it is not a casual statement. Third is, if you have the knowledge that everything that is temporary is only an appearance. See this whole world as a movie. Sometimes there's a tragedy, sometimes there is a comedy. But as long as you remember it's a movie, you enjoy both. Haven't you seen all of you watching the soap operas? Ghar Ghar Ki Kahani. And after crying, that was so good. Even crying is joyful, right? That's why Guru Gobind Singh Ji said, "Main to param purush ka dasa, ayo dekhan jagat tamasa." I am his servant. I have just come to see this big orchestrated Broadway show. Sometimes there's Phantom of the Opera. Sometimes there is Sleeping Beauty. Sometimes there's Lion King. Yeah? Enjoy it as a play. Yeah? And in all situations, if you can stand apart as a witness and see the spectacle of creation and dissolution, then you are like Lord Shiva, Nataraja. On one side is creation and blessings, on the other side, the entire universe, that constructive destruction that takes place, and the dance of joy and sorrow. And Gurudev used to say, why are you worried? You sit in your home, Miss Joy will come to you. When she comes, offer her a glass of Coke Zero. Because she likes size 0. When she goes, don't try to catch her. She has the freedom to change her mind. And she's going, don't try to run after her. Otherwise she will scream and shout and scratch. And don't close the doors. Mr. Sorrow is coming. Then I should close the doors and windows. No, he's not a decent lady. He will break your roof and come. Yeah? So before trouble troubles you, you don't be troubled by trouble, then trouble will get troubled of you. He stays a little longer. Give him a mug of beer, drink. Yeah? He stays longer because he's not in demand. But he also has to go. And she has to come because she'll change her mind. Like that, joy and sorrow come and go. You sit in your balcony, enjoy the flow of it. And yet, most of the developments take place in life. You become creative in life. You develop in life when there are sorrows. So one who sees joy and sorrow the same. That way, view life. And if not any such thing, then no, even if you say God is the giver of our joy and sorrow, you as parents, what would you give to your children? Only that which is good for them. Children might think, you're not giving me ice cream. I'm miserable because of you. They're not miserable because of you. They'll be more miserable if you were not there to stop them from it. Have that faith that whatever the Lord gives is for our best. And then you discover that happiness is only in the infinite Lord. And that infinite Lord is that substratum which is the very consciousness, the Atma in you. And that infinite self is the source of all happiness. I'll conclude with a short story which I love telling every time. You want to hear it?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's helped me in my life. There used to be a king and there used to be a minister. Our Balvia children will know this story. King and a minister. And the minister always said, it's the Lord's wish, it is for the best. It was like a takya kalam. Do you see, no? You see, you know, isn't it? You make these statements to, show that your thought flow is continuous. So people don't take these statements seriously. One day, there was a man-eating tiger. So the king was asked to trap that tiger. So he went hunting for the tiger with his minister and some soldiers. It was getting late. It was getting dark. Suddenly the king on the horseback and the minister on the horseback. Suddenly the king realizes that there are no footsteps behind him. Looks behind, all the soldiers are not there. So they are lost in the forest. It's getting dark. He said, we are lost in the forest, and it's getting dark. The minister says, it's the Lord's wish. It is for the best. So king thought, what is for the best? Now we were chasing the tiger will chase us. And most of your fears come to Vita Raga, Bhaya, even if nothing is happening, you live in fear and you will be in sorrow only. And when you don't get what you want, Krodha. You create sorrow for yourself and for others. He got angry, but he didn't do anything. And just at that time, he was afraid. And just time there was a roar of the tiger. The horses went wild, dropped the two, and ran away. And maybe the tiger ran after the horses. They fell down, and when the king got up, it was excruciating pain in his finger, in his hand, and saw that his hand was bleeding. And what found out that one of his fingers was missing. He picks up his little finger, and he says, my finger is broken. And the minister says, it's the Lord's wish, it is for the best. Yeah. King wanted to cut off his head, but he said, let me wait till I get back to the kingdom. They were hungry, they were thirsty, it was getting dark. They finally came to a well which was so deep, so shallow and muddy. The king said, the well is so deep, how can we drink water? The minister said, it's the Lord's wish, it is for the best. Oh, the king got so angry, now he could not control. So he added to his sorrow, the only friend he had in the forest, he threw him in the well. Raga, Bhaya, Krodha, threw him in the well. And even when he was falling himself in the well, he could hear the echo from the well. It's the Lord's wish, it is for the best. Loco. I hope you understand, right? You're in taxi, right? Yeah, even I know Spanish. It's not Mexican, it's Spanish. When he fell in the Well, the king was angry, but see, law of karma, he went hunting for an animal. Finally, there were some cannibals there, and they hunted the king, and hatta king, they took him, and they had their own kind of, ceremonies and all that, to sacrifice the king so that they could get a lot of king meat. Royal meat. Yeah? That's a brand in England, royal meat. Yeah? So you would get the royal meat. And just when all the dances were going on, the mask and everything, and there came this big guy coming there with a sword with ridges, and comes there, and just when the drums stop and he is about to sacrifice him. He closes his eyes, he screams, but nothing happens. He opens his eyes. Somebody has held the hand of this man and said, you can't give a sacrifice which is damaged. Leave him. Suddenly, what did he remember? That what he thought was a tragedy, it saved his life. So what did he remember? What did he remember? It's Bhagwan's wish, it is for the best. At least now repeat it. It's the Lord's wish. Then he thought, I killed my friend, threw him in the well. Then he remembered the well was shallow, he could be still alive. Thank God the well was shallow. And that time he was angry. But thank God. He might be alive. He found his friend alive, brought his friend out, told him the whole story, and told him that, I'm a non-believer atheist. Yeah? But you are a believer. Then why such a bad thing happened to a good person like you? Yeah? What good happened to you? That you say that Lord's wish, it is for the best when you fell in the well. He said, oh king, if I was not in the well and I was with you, you would have been freed, but I would be sacrificed. Therefore, you just remember this. It's the Lord's wish. It is for the best. Keep that in mind. Then you can learn to manage. When sorrows come, you do feel sorrow. But know this, happiness is your own true nature. And before we depart from this intelligent life, discover yourself. That is the source of even your joys, not an object. Still, life is full of pleasures, joys, sorrows. They come and go. And sometimes some linger on for a long time. But two things. It is all in appearance. It has to end. But second is that whatever comes to life, it is the Lord's wish. It is for the best. Look at the scientists. Look at those who played Superman in movies. They became superheroes after some tragedy in their, what you may call as tragedy. After that only they became superheroes. Isn't it? Read about them, you'll come to know. So it's the Lord's wish. Don't ever forget that. And manage your sorrows. And the whole Gita is teaching you what? Even if you have done the greatest of mistake, Bhagavan says, just make a firm resolve not to do it again. And the ending again started with asocha nanvasochastva, and the ending was ma sucha. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhya mokshayishami ma sucha. So whole Gita is to remove your sorrows. But you chase after every beta, tita, sita. please study the Gita regularly, and refuse to be miserable. You've come here to be happy, and then only you can spread happiness to others. If you are miserable, you can't give happiness to others. And others around you are happy. Then even if your happiness depends on others, it depends on their happiness, right? Make people happy in your life, and you shall be happy. So we conclude. Thank you, each and every one of you. This is my last program in USA before I go to London and back to India. It's been a fantastic trip throughout USA, from our Gita Marathon camp, our USA National Conference of all workers, and then the youth camp, National Youth Camp, and then all the yajnas in different places. But the best is left for the last, right? So it's been a very, very fulfilling Gyan Yajna. All those who have served, made it possible. We invoke the blessings of the Lord, Gurudev, on all of you. Continue to serve, continue to grow, continue to participate, and take the study of your scriptures, the pride of your culture, the dignity of your values, and your regular satsang for children, youth, and yourself seriously. And see how we can make our life so fulfilled. And of course, before we depart, we make the lives of many others happy. For maximum happiness to maximum people for maximum life. We just keep that motto. We have the vision of life. Our Puja Gurudev, and don't go searching for Guru anywhere when you have a Gurudev like Gurudev. He's a man of the millennium, Yuga Purusha, like Shankaracharya and others. So, keep yourself dedicated. 108th Jayanti of his is coming up. Let us all in our own way, doing our sadhanas, developing ourselves, and whatever seva we can do for family, for the community, for our nation, do it and grow. So, let us all sarve bhavantu sukhina. With that attitude, let us move around in life. And 2026 is the 75th year of Chinmaya Mission. So many children, so many youth, so many families have benefited for it. At least in that year, let us come together to express our solidarity, our gratitude, and share our benefit with the world. I'll be, of course, coming to USA next year, but may not come to Austin as such. But there'll be a number of programs, Mahasamadhi camp in Washington, D.C., even, as I've mentioned to you, family camps. I don't know if you don't want to meet me again, but I would love to meet you again. So if I can't come, you come. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhave, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Gacchate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri